Chapter 3. Christ appears to Saint Martin. Accordingly, at a certain period when he had nothing except his arms and his simple military dress, in the middle of winter, a winter which had shown itself more severe than ordinary, so that the extreme cold was proving fatal to many, he happened to meet at the gate of the city of Amiens a poor man destitute of clothing. He was entreating those that passed by to have compassion upon him, but all passed the wretched man without notice. When Martin, that man full of God, recognized that a being to whom others showed no pity was in that respect left to him, yet what should he do? He had nothing except the cloak in which he was clad, for he had already parted with the rest of his garments for similar purposes. Taking therefore his sword, with which he was girt, he divided his cloak into 2 equal parts, and gave one to the poor man, while he again clothed himself with the remainder. Upon this some of the bystanders laughed, because he was now an unsightly object, and stood out as but partly dressed. Many, however, who were of sound understanding, groaned deeply, because they themselves had done nothing similar. They especially felt this, because being possessed of more than Martin, they could have clothed the poor man without reducing themselves to nakedness. In the following night, when Martin had resigned himself to sleep, he had a vision of Christ arrayed in that part of his cloak which he had clothed the poor man. He contemplated the Lord with the greatest attention, and was told to own as his the robe which he had given. Ere long, he heard Jesus saying with a clear voice to the multitude of angels standing round, "Martin, who is still but a catechumen, clothed me with his robe." The Lord, truly mindful of his own words, who had said when on earth, "Inasmuch as ye have done these things to one of the least of these, you have done them unto me," declared that he himself had been clothed in the poor man, and to confirm the testimony he bore to so good a deed, he condescended to show himself in that very dress which the poor man had received. After this vision, the sainted man was not puffed up with human glory, but acknowledging the goodness of God and what had been done, and being now of the age of 20 years, he hastened to receive baptism. He did not, however, all at once retire from military service, yielding to the entreaties of his tribune, whom he admitted to be his familiar tent companion. For the tribune promised that after the period of his office had expired, he too would retire from the world. Martin, kept back by the expectation of this event, continued, although but in name, to act the part of a soldier, for nearly 2 years after he had received baptism.